God says, Lazarus, come forth. But what he does is Lazarus is in a tomb. He makes them roll away the tomb, stone. They roll it away. He speaks in there and says, Lazarus, come out. He does not allow anybody to go in there and get him. Lazarus has to hear God. He's wrapped up like a mummy and go towards the voice he's hearing. He has to be in death clothes and move. Under the death clothes, he's alive. But he has to move with the dead clothes. When he comes out of the tomb, then God says, now loose him and let him go. Meaning that God will make you move first and then start stripping.
Yikes.
And what he did for me was he called me out of the tomb. And I didn't look for him to do so. I didn't ask for him to do so. I just started feeling him call me. So it happened like this. I was walking out of my church. My dad was walking in. And as I'm walking past him, something spoke out of me and said, hey, you should let me preach the Christmas service. This is like now. Whatever day this is now, this is like now. You should let me preach the Christmas service. My dad looks at me and says, okay. And because I'm shocked that something said that, I was like, okay. He said, okay, I'm getting high every day. I'm having sex every day. I'm drinking. I'm doing all this stuff. I hadn't heard God, but God just spoke through me. And he initiated my call. Now's the time. Go. Like, that's what he does. Paul says, when it pleased God to reveal his son in me. Like, at this time, now, all right, now it's time. And so I end up preaching my first sermon. My dad never taught me how to preach. Nobody's ever sat me down and said, do it this way.
Yeah.
I just innately knew how to do it. I got up and I preached, and my message was on Romans 7, the flesh versus the spirit. In Romans 7, Paul says, when I want to do right, I can't do it. Evil is always around. Every time I think to do right, I can't find the power to perform it. I was preaching my life. Girlfriend at the time sitting on the second row, we're actively sleeping together. So I'm very used to my mistakes being in the room while God is trying to use me. So I'm sitting, I'm sitting there and preaching. God's moving. All this stuff happens. I believe she sends me a text that day, and we're great friends now, but like, this is when I was young. She sent me a text that day and was like, I can't go with you there. Like, obviously something big is about to happen.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think I fit in that. And like, I was trying to talk her into it. But God, when he initiates you, he starts to alert everything around you.
Yikes.
And things have to start moving.
Yikes.
He forces splits. He forces separations. He does that for his own good. So I start preaching. All of that happens. We ended up separating. I think when I was 19, I was in college. I went deeper into a depression. Now, here's the thing. I started preaching at 18. I was still doing drugs, still sleeping around, still doing all those things, struggling, not playing with God. I was fighting, crying every day. I told somebody this story last night. I would smoke every day. I would get one blunt. One blunt at that time was $10. I don't know how much stuff costs now. Y'all got it for free. Right when I quit, the floodgates open. God got me out. Ha! Shiba Katai. So I would get one blunt, $10, and I would get a pack of Swishers. Pack of Swishers, it comes in twos, right? So I would do this every day, Ashley. I would get Megan. I would get the blunt, roll it up, take the other one, throw it out the window. Get a lighter for that day, take it, light it, throw it out the window. Get Visine, take it, throw it out the window. And I would say every day for 6 years, I'm not doing it tomorrow. So I did that every day. That was my pattern. Because I'm not doing it tomorrow. For 6 years, I told myself tomorrow I'm gonna stop.
Wow.
Never wanted to keep doing it. So for 3 years in ministry, I was doing that. And God was blessing my ministry. But I'm bound bad. And it's taken a long time for these grave clothes to get unraveled. I break up with the young lady when I was 19. I went deeper into depression. So that's when I started. I used to snort pills. I used to take Molly, pop it open, crush it, snort one, pop the other, and do that every day. Because I had a roommate that was a drug dealer. I was always around drug dealers because I ain't had no money. So
you smart.
Be my friend. You feel me?
He's like, I was sinning, but I was smart.
So I would do that every day, bound, messed up. 2016, I reached a point. I was tired of living two different lives. I was doing a job that took me 2 hours away from my home. I hope my story ain't too long.
No, it's good.
I was doing a job that took me 2 hours from my home, and I was sitting in the hotel room. We would go to grocery stores and restock them.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting in the hotel room, and I had a roommate that was like my friend. He had a gun that like he would bring just for protect. I don't know why he would bring it.
Mm-hmm.
I told them all, go to work that day. I'm not going. I don't feel good. My plan was to stay behind, pull the covers over my head, and pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed behind, pulled the covers over my head. I grabbed the gun, and someone let me do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the gun on the nightstand in the middle of the two beds. And there was some pills. I think it was like aspirin or etc. I said, well, I'm going to take all of these and just go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
As I went to take them, something just put me to sleep. There was a time I overdosed and God just put me to sleep. But that's a whole nother story. But something just put me to sleep, couldn't do it. So I leave that in that weekend. This is July like 17th, 16th in 2016. I go to church, and I just got high that week. I was really messed up. And they were singing a song in praise and worship called Consuming Fire by Todd Delaney. He's just saying, consuming fire, burn it away, burn it away. I'm on my knees. Nobody knows I'm on drugs. Nobody knows I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm preaching in a lot of places. It's anointed little boy. People getting free, people getting delivered. I am messed up, and I'm done. I'm done living two different lives. Sin ages you. Sin destroys you.
Yeah.
And so I'm on my knees, and I say, God, today you have to take this away. You do not take this away today, I promise you I'm going home and it's over. I promise you. I hear one of the closest times to the audible voice of God that I ever heard in my life. And I heard him say, if you want something you never got, you got to do something you never did. And I'm like, that's a cliche. What does that mean? Literally, I say that out loud. That's a cliche. What does that mean? He said, get up and tell the church everything you've been doing. I said, you lying to me? Satan, we rebuke you.
For sure, get thee behind me.
Get thee behind me.
I'm not telling these good people nothing.
And I think it sounds crazy, and I just start crying, and I feel something pick me up and help me walk on the stage. And they're so used to me being a wonder and a word that they see me walking on the stage, they hand over the mic. One of the elders was talking, they hand over the mic. Oh, he got a prophetic word he about to give. He got something. I'm crying. I get the mic, and I say, I'm doing drugs. I'm having sex. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I was very explicit. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. You can imagine the record scratch in the church.
For sure.
I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And I don't want to live no more. And I need y'all to help me. As I was saying it, I felt a hand grab my shoulder and lift something off. And I felt another hand grab my shoulder, lift something off. And I'm getting lighter. And I'm crying. And I found out that the devil's weapon against me was my secrecy. And when I stripped him of his secrecy, it was nothing he could use against me. So if an article came out in the paper and said Norris is doing drugs, the next page will say, yeah, we know, he told us. Because it's I've stripped the devil of his power. His power is when you conceal a thing.
Yeah.
The Bible says, in the multitude of counsel, there is safety. From that day forward, I was not perfect, and there's more to my journey, but the addiction was broken. The addiction was broken. He gave me back my options.
Yeah.
He gave me back my choice.
Yeah.